Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome back from the Labor Day holiday here. We have a full calendar of events scheduled for the next couple of weeks, and I want to point your attention to pivotboss.com/events. At this page here, which we've been looking at over the last week or so, you'll notice here that we have a couple of things starting today. September 5th here, we have our Premium Bootcamp starts today, which is a 4-day event throughout the week. And we also have this afternoon's Monthly Market Outlook. Monthly Market Outlook, we try to do this every month or so here, where we give you some long-term candidates here for the month and also for the quarter. We're going to be looking at some great candidates here heading into the end of the year. If you click on this link here, it'll bring you down, and that's where you can join the webinar. So later on here, you can click on that, or you can click in the description below. But either way, clicking here will get you into the webinar later on, 8 hours and change from now. And I guess, again, you can read a bit more about it here. Now, one thing I do want to point your attention to is this week's boot camp. Here it is right here, September 5th through the 8th into the end of the week. Really, this is a trading room for members here, only here, but if you are not a member, you can jump in for free. You have a limited time here to use this free coupon here to get 1 free month's access. With the free month, you're also going to get access to our trading room, which is where we're going to hold our premium bootcamp. You get additional on-demand training, some proprietary indicators and tools, live prospect and trading, and much more. So again, that's 1 free month here. If you use this coupon, after you click this link and go, you'll be able to get be a part of our premium boot camp. And again, we have specific training today, so while we'll be in the trading room throughout the sessions here today and throughout the week, we're going to be in our boot camp training camp schedule, which is going to be the 11 o'clock block hour, and we're going to talk signals. So we're going to talk some of our signature signals here, how to use them to find and trade opportunities in the market regardless of time frame. So again, if you want to be a part of this training throughout the week, jump in with the free coupon here and be a part of it. If you can't jump in at these times, all sessions will be recorded and posted as always. Alright, let's get to the charts here. If you take a look here at the current range, very narrow range coming out of the holiday weekend. You're likely going to stay in this range throughout the session here today. We have a pre-market low that's pretty strong at 4,500. That's a pretty strong low there, early on at least. And if that low remains intact, we may be able to get back as high as 4,530 intraday, or even a bit higher in the best case scenario. Now again, nothing's really going to go really well to the upside till you can start pushing through the recent highs here. So through 45.50 opens up the next round of highs up here. But if you fail 4,500, if there's a failure here, that's going to open up perhaps as low as the previous month's low. And this is something that we're going to have to deal with here, is that we close the month here very close to the monthly midpoint. The highs here, the lows here. So at some point here, we're either going to have to make a move to the previous high or back to the previous low. So keeping an eye here on the previous month's midpoint is going to be very important. Now, ever since we did push back above these recent pivot highs, can price form a higher low? That's going to be something to watch. If this market drops hard and then we see a higher low failure of some sort, that could be a significant jumping off point to previous highs down the road. So we're going to keep an eye on this range here throughout the week. We could continue to remain range bound a little while longer before we see that expansion. We do have a light economic calendar to begin the week on a Monday, Tuesday, factory orders today. But Wednesday here, it starts to get a little bit heavier here with Beige Book. We have ISM manufacturing, PMI. Additionally, on Thursday, a ton of Fed speak with a ton of FOMC members speaking. You also have crude oil inventories moved to a Thursday, and initial jobless claims. Friday will be a bit quieter. So do we continue to build out in a full-on range-bound week the rest of the week? This could turn into a 2-week range, and then maybe next week we really start to break out. So we'll keep an eye on the boundaries here and look to fade the edges until proven otherwise. Taking a look here at the NQ. Right here, the NQ, again, a pretty impressive rally here. You can see the midpoint from the previous month is right here. If we can pull back into that zone and form some sort of higher low, perhaps we can go find the previous month's highs up ahead. Now, a failure at this point is going to open up the previous month's lows. We'll see where we are with this market here, but from an intraday standpoint here today already, a decent strong intraday low, trying to find higher low here off the previous session's low, which could open up a return back higher. A failure here, though, again, at the previous session's low could open up a bit more weakness as we try to find a strong low that can perhaps push this thing a bit higher. We're taking a look here at crude. Right now, crude oil, big time strength over the last week, massive continuation to the upside and a holding pattern here on the first trading day of the month. Now perhaps we're seeing a little bit of an extreme reversal at these highs. If we start to push back below this pivot high here, that's going to be important, right? That's, if you bring it back, we're sitting right above it. It could start to look like a higher high failure. If you start to push below that level, you come back to the midpoint and maybe across the range. That could be a higher high rejection. We talked about this potential scenario when the market started to turn here, when it failed to actually break down and return to these lower prices we were looking for. We mentioned, well, this could be where we come up here and get a higher high now, and if that higher high rejects, it brings you back down, and now we have basically a larger trading range. Now, if it's going to push through the 85s and continue higher, you're opening up the door to 94 up ahead. 94. Can we get to 94? That's going to be the next target above. That's basically this level right there, and it's the next level through basically 94 down to 84. That's the zone. So if this thing can find acceptance to 84, 85, you're opening up the door to these upside targets. But if it's a failure, you're back down where we came, coming back to where we came from, 77.5 down below. So keeping an eye on this zone here. Again, that pivot high right here is basically 85. So you're watching 85 to see how the market responds. We take a look here at gold futures. Right now, gold showing quite a bit of range-bound action overall. From like a longer-term standpoint, we're at the middle of that range now, and we've seen some flow back and forth. And this recent failed new high right now is opening up a bit of weakness here. And that failed new high has now had a midpoint retest and now an inverted checkmark trend day down as prices are currently below the previous session's lows. That could open up a bit more weakness ahead. Again, this market has continued to chop around this middle section here. So if we start to break back below 1950, that could open up a return back toward lows ahead. But you got to be a bit more careful in the middle of this range, as it has been a bit choppy in here, historically at least, over the last several months. So it's really the edges where you have the much better odds for action and reversals. All right, let's take a look here at YM to finish up. Now the YM here has developed a great impulsive move. Strong low here, strong high here, but we haven't quite gotten the midpoint. That's going to be 34,619. Can price get 34,619? At the moment, the YM has some very strong lows right here, which are sitting on some very strong prior highs. So the current lows are very strong. That's basically 34,750. And again, 34,800 is a very important pivot edge as well. So we have a very narrow range developing here over the course of several days. It's building some energy. If there's a failure at 34,750, then we can fill this 619 midpoint and we have ourselves a new key range. If it can get that relatively quickly, that's a good key range. Otherwise, we likely drop that key range as a range. But for right now, if we can get that level, we have ourselves a new key range. We do have a 4-day narrow range here, building some energy. Very strong pivot lows, as I mentioned. So if a failure at 34,750 occurs, you get to 619. But do you also come down here for a test at the edge? That would be 34,062. So keeping an eye on this to see how we play out. Again, One final bullish idea would be if we were to break down early this week, hit the 619, but then you see a failed new low. That would provide a failed new low after a strong primary low, and that could open up a bit more strength up ahead. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this develops heading into the rest of the week. A big week planned, premium boot camp week. Again, get yourself a free month membership here. Jump into the trading room and be a part of what we're doing. All right, everyone, take care, and I'll see you in the room.